Today, Bitcoin and Ether climb to start the week. Wall Street is diving deeper into digital assets, with Citi targeting a 2026 launch of a crypto custody service. And the CEO of House of Doge discusses the merger agreement with the gaming platform Bragg House to list on the NASDAQ. Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Mackenzie Sigalos. Crypto markets are bouncing along with stocks to kick off the week after President Trump said trade relations with China will, quote, all be fine. As of noon Eastern, Bitcoin climbed 1% to the $114,000 level. Ether rose about 2.5%, and XRP was higher by 4%. Okay, let's talk about the top stories. Citi aims to launch its crypto custody service next year. That's according to Citi's global head of partnerships and innovation in the services business, who told CNBC that the bank has been developing a crypto custody service for the past 2 to 3 years and is making progress. Custodian services enable a bank to hold assets on behalf of its clients. Now, for Citi, the executive told CNBC that the lender is looking at both an in-house developed technology solution for custody, as well as potential partnerships with third parties. The development comes as Wall Street giants like JP Morgan and Bank of America have been expanding their footprint into the digital asset space. A more favorable regulatory environment in the U.S. has prompted American banks to offer more services to do with digital assets. Next, speaking of big Wall Street names looking to expand their crypto footprint, an international group of 10 major banks are looking to jointly issue a stablecoin. Members would include Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, Deutsche Bank, and BNP Paribas. According to an announcement from Friday, the group will explore creating a fully backed, blockchain-based product focused on G7 currencies. The announcement says the objective is to see if the new offering could bring the advantages of digital assets as well as enhance market competition. It also mentions the group is in talks with regulators in each market. This comes as more and more banks continue to weigh if they should enter the stablecoin space. Last, sticking with big banks moving into crypto, JP Morgan's global head of digital assets joined CNBC Squawk Box Europe today to discuss the bank's evolving blockchain strategy, which includes stablecoins and deposit tokens. Now, back in June, JP Morgan announced the banking giant was launching an alternative to a stablecoin called JPMD. The so-called deposit token is designed to serve as a digital representation of commercial bank money.
When it comes to how we approach this, we're very much taking an and approach. There's the existing market and there's opportunities to do new things. And those and opportunities aren't exclusive to one or the other. When we think about cash on ledger, we've had a solution and our own internal blockchain for a number of years, and we've been using that in the markets business to settle some of our own internal trading with clients. And we've also now got JPMD, which is a deposit token on base in the United States, as a prototype to then develop as a wider opportunity. But we'll also do stuff with stablecoins. So all of those provide opportunities for our clients to be able to do new things that they're interested in doing and help us understand how this technology fits alongside the existing market and what new opportunities there are there. So when it comes to JPMD, I think it's really exciting. There's a real opportunity for us to think about how we can offer different services for our clients on the cash side, as well as responding to client demand to do things in stablecoins. And that strategy is still emerging, as you can understand, because it's only really been a few months since we've had some more clear regulation around what the opportunity looks like.
All right, for our main story, House of Doge, which is the corporate arm of the Dogecoin Foundation, announced that it has entered into a merger agreement with the gaming platform Bragg House to list on the NASDAQ. The proposed merger would bring payments, tokenization, and gaming to Bragg House and could advance mainstream Dogecoin adoption. I spoke with Margiotta, the CEO of House of Doge, this afternoon about today's announcement and what happens next. So House of Doge is going public on the NASDAQ through a reverse merger. For those who aren't familiar, talk about what House of Doge is and why you're choosing to go public now.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. So the House of Doge is the official corporate arm of the Dogecoin Foundation. We recently, engaged with that about earlier this year, January of this year. So it's a fresh partnership. It's a 20-year agreement that sees us act as the complete corporate arm on an exclusive arrangement. And so the reason why we're going public is because we have a ton of utility forthcoming, including verticals around payments, tokenization, creating alternative asset products that haven't been seen by the market just yet. Fueling all this activity would obviously require a substantial amount of capital, and taking us public and going public, for that matter, through TBH, through this reverse merger, allows us to do that. And so it's really giving us the platform we need to raise, significant amounts of capital to fuel all the demand and utility we think that's coming with all the products we have coming to market in short order.
And one of the ways that a lot of digital asset businesses are trying to entice investors is by talking about the utility that their platforms bring. Dogecoin started as a meme. So how are you making the case that this new investment vehicle is more than just a speculative play and has a strategy for some of that utility traditional investors might be looking for?
For sure. When you think about the history of Dogecoin, it did start off as a joke, but now at a 30 billion circa market cap as it is today, kind of fluctuating between 30 and 40 billion, it's certainly no joke any longer. It represents the second largest community in crypto. And so having that as an install base to launch a bunch of different verticals with a ton of utility, much like other cryptos are doing, provides a perfect backdrop to really fuel activity thanks to that big install base and that big community feel we have. So for us, when we looked at tokenization as an example, there's a ton of utility that'll come from that. Decentralizing how assets are owned and purchased and making them distributed way more efficiently provides an amazing opportunity to really take advantage of blockchain and decentralization. That is no different for Dogecoin. However, we want to leverage the fact of how we grew from a community and really take advantage of other communities that are out there, including sports as an example, where we think combining sports and that community and how that action and kind of environment enables people to come together is no different than how Dogecoin came to be. And so from a joke, it's now that 30, 40 billion market cap. We think by bringing sports communities together and sports ownership more specifically, there's a very big way on how we can kind of really leverage our brand to enter other brands and other communities and keep growing the base. But decentralizing different assets that are owned by a select few is one way we'll be creating real utility and enhancement for not only the appreciation of Dogecoin, but also leveraging different asset classes that typically aren't available by retail investors.
In terms of utility, you're talking about decentralization and using a lot of the broad terms that people associate with the cryptocurrency industry, but I'm not hearing what the utility is from Doge aside from an aspiration to be involved in sports. What specifically within sports?
I think so. That's stemming from the fact that we have this reverse takeover from Braghouse that really plays into that vertical. That's just one of many. Even with that sports theme, if you will, and vertical, there is an opportunity to provide different assets that aren't typically made available. And so there's several other asset classes that we'll be bringing to market. It's just for this particular vehicle and how we chose to go public, there's a very synergistic way that we could take advantage of not only the size of our community, but other sports communities that are out there and, really leveraging the ultimate fan engagement, which is sports ownership. When you couple that with various other assets we'll be coming to market with, there is a ton of assets that we will tokenize in order to enable, anybody to own asset classes they've once dreamed of owning. But because of the limited capital they have, that's not possible. Payments is obviously a big one that's dear to my heart. We had a ton of success in a previous company that I just sold to Fiserv, the world's largest payments company. There is a ton of economic utility that could be, really extracted from saving merchants, as one example, a ton of economics from what they currently pay today for processing payments and receiving payments. We're talking 75% more of savings by being on a blockchain and handling that, from cradle to grave. And so there's a significant amount of opportunity there. Those are the two big verticals we'll be focusing on out of the gate.
And what are you doing within sports?
So within sports, we think that the ultimate fan engagement, Braghouse has a way of engaging with fans through esports and bringing communities together to brag about the sports they're involved with and the teams they get back and get behind. That's really great for brands that want to get behind that movement as well. We're further advancing that. The ultimate fan engagement for us is actually ownership of a team they never had access to. And so we're bringing that to market through various partners. Think of, significant crypto exchanges that would want to offer up the opportunity for fans to own a piece of the sports team they now follow.
Are you talking about esports teams? Are you working with professional sports leagues like the NFL and tokenizing ownership? Because, these are pretty robust empires owned by a select few. So which sports leagues are you in talks with?
They are. So in Europe, where tokenization is now live and you can tokenize various assets, we do have some investments we'll be announcing in short order. But the ultimate goal for us, is not just to focus just on Europe. This is a global opportunity. We do have access to a ton of significant sports teams in Europe, including major leagues such as Serie A, Division One soccer teams all over the world for that matter. But here in North America, as those rules come to fruition and there's more clarity provided, there is an opportunity to work with several professional sports teams, and we're already having those conversations. It's just until that infrastructure is in place, there's not much you could do until that point in time.
So what I've seen in the payment space with respect to cryptocurrency is that stablecoins have become the optimal form of a transaction token, having that pegged to the US dollar. Certainly the support from the Trump administration has made it easier for stablecoins that were already out there, whether it's a Tether or a Circle or new issuers, to enter the space. So why would someone want to transact in a highly volatile asset instead of a stablecoin, especially when stablecoins have become the de facto form of crypto for transactions?
I couldn't agree more. And so there are aspects of what can be done, even with Doge, in terms of stability and how you could really reduce the volatility of accepting that coin. Obviously, the higher ticketed items are suspect number one to that volatility. You don't want to be sending, $50,000 payments and watching cryptocurrency, especially after a week like we had last week, where there could be a 30-40% drop within hours. There is utility that comes from having a stable coin in conjunction with an underlying cryptocurrency. And there's a world where they both live. And so we're cognizant of that. We do know that that's a major point that we want to get across the line as well. It doesn't all have to be about Dogecoin itself as it stands today. There is a broader vision that would include stability around a currency that would be more, appropriate for transacting with everyday purchases.
Okay, that's all for Crypto World today. We'll be back again tomorrow, and we'll see you then.